3 tips to improve muscle memory. Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about the 3 different tips that I've observed in order to improve muscle memory. Many of us use specific exercises to help us get into the mood for drawing, such as the one I'm doing here. And in this drawing, I decided to do a freehand 1-point perspective line drawing so I can force my hand to draw straight lines in directions that I'm not comfortable with. For example, from bottom to up, as you can tell while I draw through this, is my weakest direction. Alright, let's get started with today's video. The first tip to improve muscle memory is patience. I know it's kind of obvious, but patience is definitely necessary and something that's important enough to mention because practice makes progress, and that just happens to require quite a bit of patience. And we are all known to be a little bit impatient with ourselves, and we can be a little bit hard on ourselves when we don't get the results that we expect. But drawing is like any other physical skill, and it takes time to build. Sometimes I fall into the trap of seeing other people's art and comparing my skills to theirs, and if I'm not conscious of this, it can really do a number on my own self-esteem. I'll conveniently neglect the fact that maybe they have had years of practice over me, or they're just at another level in terms of raw talent, and that's nothing that I can do to control that. Raw talent that is extraordinary is actually quite rare. Some of the most moving and influential artists built everything from their commitment to improve and putting in the effort to consistently make time to practice their craft. So instead of comparing myself to others, I try to focus on the progress that I've made for myself. I think for myself, I am a little late to this insight, as I've never been very good at keeping a record of my own progress throughout the years, due to constantly being on the move as I grew up as a kid. But now, technology and social media has changed that for me, and for many other artists as well, from what I can see. The second tip I have for you to improve your muscle memory is confidence. Those squiggly lines in the very beginning when you first learn how to draw can really make you feel a little foolish and embarrassed to share your art with others. If you are older especially and are just starting out, your drawing might look like a drawing from a 5-year-old. When I started drawing for the very first time, I was maybe 11 years old, and I never tried before that because I didn't feel like I had that raw talent. I loved hearts, and my hearts would always come out very wonky and squiggly, and I just never tried to improve it, as I believed that if I don't have the talent, I could not improve. Then I met a girl that was a couple years older than me, and she was naturally talented at drawing, and we became friends, and I asked her if she can show me. And at that time, my only goal in that session was to be able to draw something that was recognizable. I decided to draw the Animaniacs, for those of you who are familiar with that cartoon back in the day. By the time I was done with that drawing, even though it was very squiggly and very weak lines, you were able to recognize that it was the Animaniacs, and I was so proud of myself. Unfortunately, the girl laughed at my drawing and dismissed it and just told me to keep practicing and did not give me any tips on how to improve. I didn't realize it until a couple decades later that she was just jealous as we were older, and her jealousy and her envy became much more obvious and much more malicious. So my tip for you here is try to look at your drawing and your art as your drawing age. You don't expect a newborn baby to be able to feed and clothe itself right out of the womb. So try not to expect yourself to be able to draw masterpieces in the beginning of your artistic journey. We have all heard somewhere about the 10,000 hours needed to be an expert at something. I'm going to get a little bit mathematical here. A day has only 24 hours, and say you are a full-time artist that can put in 8 hours of practice. So in a week, you will have 56 hours of practice if you do not take a day off. And in a month, it would go up to 224 hours. And then in a year, it would be 2,688 hours. That means it would take you 3.7 years of full-time practice to become what we consider as an expert. That number or that amount of time can be very intimidating. Confidence comes from accepting where you are on your own artistic journey. To know that even though you're not there yet does not mean that you're not good enough to provide some kind of value to other people out there. The third tip I have for you to be able to build your muscle memory is to be comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. Let's admit it, learning hurts, and it should. Learning is known to change the physical structure of the brain. It constantly organizes and reorganizes itself while it rewires the brain. The phrase use it or lose it is never more true than it is here. Science teaches us that when you don't use certain parts of the brain, it will atrophy, which means that the part of the brain that you don't use much will shrink and become weaker than the other parts where you use more often. I don't know about you, but when I visualize how intelligent our bodies are and how it can change through repetitive patterns of habit, I tend to see something similar to a character in Transformers. We have the power to literally transform ourselves from the inside out. It's just going to hurt, and sometimes it can hurt a lot. Alright, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. And I will see all of you beautiful souls in the next video.